Good morning. Today we'll start with the themes of William Shakespeare's one of the best tragedies, that is the Macbeth, and we'll discuss the themes that can be read or can be seen through the play when we go through it, and what themes can be seen or read when we read the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare. So it can be said that Macbeth is a favorite choice for introducing Shakespeare to the students, and because the play is a great theatrical triumph which offers the audiences of all ages something to learn or see or connect with it. It has a very strong supernatural element, something that is very much in fashion today. All sorts of things such as sex, revenge, violence, and it's type of a thriller, a very gripping murder story. It grips us in exactly the same way as it did the people 4 centuries ago when Shakespeare was writing. So the main themes or the key themes throughout the play can be read like, number 1, the theme of appearance and reality. So something that preoccupies Shakespeare and which brings it into every one of his plays is the way that so many things in life are not what they seem like or what they appear to be. That is a very strong thematic strain in Macbeth, so much so that we have pulled together the most significant Macbeth quotes while reading the play. In the first moments of the play, we see that the witches are chanting, "Fair is foul, foul is fair, fair is foul, foul is fair." That's the statement of this theme. Things that seem good will be bad, and things that seem bad will be good. When Duncan arrives at Glamis, he comments on how lovely it is, and Banquo, who is travelling with him, says, "The heaven's breath smells wooingly here, but it is far from a heaven." So Lady Macbeth has just finished describing it as a hell, and indeed that's what it turns out to be, with conspiracy and murder. And those things from people who are regarded as good, faithful, loyal, trustworthy, these things happen or these things are done by those people. As Lady Macbeth puts it, one should look like the innocent flower but be the serpent under it. Therefore, it's one of Shakespeare's most striking images of this theme. Macbeth is confused by the witches. They seem to be women, but they have beards. They are not what they seem. Then they set out something that seems quite simple, clear, and attractive, that he will be king. But it's not simple and clear, and in fact, it's even chaotic, and he will have to be disloyal and commit several crimes to achieve it. Confusion is the tone throughout. Confusion of what? What is right and what is wrong, which is fair and what is foul. These things hover around chaotically like a fog on the minds of the reader. On his way to kill Duncan, Macbeth sees a dagger, but it's not the real dagger. The dagger is the thing that's been in his mind since encountering the witches, even when he is smiling at Duncan. This theme pervades or runs through the play and is evident in every scene. For example, Malcolm presenting himself as evil, a dangerous tyrant who would terrorize his subjects if he became king. He is concealing his goodness and pretending to be bad to test Macduff. At the end of the play, we find that the witches have deceived Macbeth in a series of lies, and Macbeth believes himself to be invincible that no man or woman born can harm him, but he discovers that it's a trick. His sense of invulnerability has been an illusion, and the reality is that he is vulnerable and he is killed by Macduff. Then one of the themes can be ambition. Macbeth is very much about ambition. It's introduced at the beginning as a part of the political setting, and the play opens as we learn some Scottish rebels who have been trying to wrest power away from the rightful king. Duncan and elevate themselves into powerful positions. Their ambition backfires and they are defeated. In the modern world also, we rather admire ambition, but Shakespeare saw it more as a corrupting force, and his ambitious characters like Julius Caesar and Macbeth come to sticky ends while pursuing it. And in Macbeth's case, once he gives way to ambition, he is transformed from a good to an evil man. He recognizes his ambition as being overwhelming, vaulting ambition he calls it. But he knows that he doesn't have the strength to resist it. So we can say that in Macbeth, ambition is not straightforward. So who is the most ambitious character in the play? It is not only Macbeth but also Lady Macbeth. And though Macbeth seems to be an Aristotelian tragic hero, but that is complicated by Lady Macbeth's role in the play. When we talk about classical tragedy, Macbeth seems to fit into that pattern, and Macbeth is a hero highly regarded by the other feudal lords of Scotland. When the idea strikes him that he can become king, he believes that all he has to do is kill Duncan. He will be elected king and he will live happily ever after as a king. The rest of the play works that idea through and throws up its various complications. In the end, the hero, who is by now regarded as a villain, is brought down by his fatal flaw, that is ambition. So in a way we can call it as an Aristotelian tragic idea. There's also far more than that to it, though. As we talk about Lady Macbeth, we see that at the beginning of the play, Macbeth is still a good man, and his naturally good qualities, which his wife sees as faults, stall him. This is where Lady Macbeth's ambition becomes evident. She uses all the tactics at her disposal, her sexuality, emotional blackmail, flattery, to ensure that he carries out the murder. Then she herself begins to resemble a classical tragic hero. So here we can say that we have two different models of ambition and two different examples of classical tragic hero. Ambition results in the murder of the divinely given king, entails a series of violations of the natural order, all of which return to haunt Macbeth relentlessly. So these are the consequences of giving way to ambition. Killing one's king is a violation of nature, and in violating nature, Macbeth forfeits the benefits of its regenerative power. He becomes an insomniac, unable to benefit from the regeneration that sleep brings. Lady Macbeth is also guilty as he is, and she goes mad and takes her own life. We'll continue with our two other themes, that is the theme of guilt and sin and retribution, in our next lecture. Thank you.